Welcome to the Psychology Club podcast, brought to you by Vicente Martinez High School.
Hi there, everybody, and welcome to the Psychology Club podcast. This week we are interviewing Scott Chavez. Thank you for being here, Scott.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So we've obviously brought you here for an interview, and we're going to start with our going around the table, saying our names.
Hi, my name is Chris.
Hello.
I'm Nick.
I'm Drake.
I'm Cassie.
Hello.
Hi. All right, let's start with some questions, and then we'll get on to the big group discussion. Our questions, we'll start with Nick.
All right, so can you tell us a little bit about your organization to start off?
So I'm with the Contra Costa Crisis Center. We're a nonprofit agency serving Contra Costa County. We started, I think, 55 years ago as a crisis line for people 24 hours a day to call in anytime about any crisis, any need. Then about 10 years into that, we started developing more and more grief services, that is support for people after someone has died. And that has grown over the years. Certainly our crisis aspect has grown over the years. Also over the years, certainly there's an increased awareness, sadly, but positive, that we're trying to do something in terms of folks who have thoughts of suicide. So certainly we are both crisis and suicide. So whether it's a crisis and people don't have thoughts of suicide, or when people do have thoughts of suicide, that they can give us a call anytime, day or night. And then also, by the way, if you're concerned about someone else, that someone else you either know has thoughts of suicide, or you think that they might possibly have thoughts of suicide, or they're in distress, then you or anyone can call in, and then we'll try to coach you on how to be supportive to those folks. Now let's see. So we have the crisis line, the grief services, and then also about 10 years ago, we became the official 211 service provider for Contra Costa County. And I don't know if you've heard of the 211 line. Of course, now you all know about it because we use that line and we've been promoting it. And in fact, I think I brought here these magnets that we have, and I'll show the viewers as well, that all you need to do is dial 211. And we, of course, also have these wallet cards while I'm promoting all of this. One side in English and one side in Spanish.
You can't forget about the Legos.
Yeah,
Oh, and the Legos.
I built those Legos.
Well,
you
I gotta take
rebuilt
credit.
them.
Well,
That's-
they
wonderful.
kind of got dropped.
Well, I will suggest this. We'll see this video now, and our executive director, in case he wants to start marketing Lego versions, promoting the Contra Costa Crisis Center.
I believe
There was a point where you could do that.
Yeah, but no, think about it like this. It will cost a lot of money to manufacture Lego 2-in-1s.
You're right.
Especially since brand names and all that.
You're right. That might be expensive.
Just get a plastic molder and then just build your own.
Yeah, there we go.
All these options. We always like to explore options and healthy options at the Crisis Center. So let's see, I was going to talk about the 211 info and referral line is something that is developed around the nation maybe about a decade ago or so. And even when I started volunteering at the center in 2010, and they said, we answer the 211 line, I hadn't heard of it. But what the 211 line is about is in most of California and in most of the United States, someone can call and let's say they're looking for services in the community and a wide variety. Let's say folks in need. So someone looking for counseling. Well, then we've got a database and we know where the counseling centers are. Or someone needs a doctor and they don't have insurance or something like that. Or even if they do have insurance, we can guide them to where they can get help. Or someone needs financial help. Maybe they lost their job and they can't pay their rental this month. Then there are agencies and groups out there that want to help. So all sorts of kinds of help. That's at 211, where you just call and we give you the information. But then also at our agency, when people are in emotional distress or want someone to talk to,
you have help for that.
You're right. We
I've
do
heard too
that.
many helps, and I'm just like, okay, I can guess the answer for this one.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Excellent. I didn't realize I'd been saying help so often.
All right.
There's a lot.
Alright.
I think we just answered all those questions the whole time.
Wow.
We answered
Well, I do
except
want
for,
to promote one more thing. Now, I know that you all are high school age, but another program, we get some money from the First 5 program, and then a sub-program, which is Help Me Grow. So I have actually this promotional item of sanitary wipes. But at any rate, the First 5 program throughout the state of California is to provide support to parents when they have kids 5 years old or younger. And then the Help Me Grow program is a subdivision of that, particularly if the young child might need a little bit more assistance to prepare to get into school, to start school, or might possibly have developmental delay or developmental disability, and then to get the help going as soon as possible. And then we have these items, and you are free to have some.
Okay, my question is, how come it's called Help Me Grow if it gets rid of bacteria?
That's a very good question. That's
'Cause
an
you're
excellent
killing the
idea.
So you're
bacteria that prevent
letting
you
kids
from
grow
growing.
by killing other living organisms.
I know, no, I got that. I was just trying to be funny, you know.
Yeah,
And it was.
it was very funny, Chris.
Very clever.
Good
Thank
job,
you,
Chris.
All right.
I finally did something good. All right.
I think your question's next, Chris.
Yeah,
let's
it is,
let's just
actually.
move on past that.
So, if we have a friend who's feeling suicidal, what is the best course of action to help them stay alive?
It's a good question. And actually, I had a hard time as I was thinking about that. What is the best thing? I can just think of numerous things.
Yeah, because help isn't the same type of help isn't going to help every other individual.
Yeah.
You're right.
You can have those who will push away everyone when they're feeling suicidal, and those who are trying to feel inclusive, but they don't know how to exactly do that. And that can also be tied into that by pushing them away. They don't know how to pull them back in. So what do you think would be the best course of action to take for anyone, like the basic?
Well, I can say that in general, in the United States and in a lot of the developed world, where I know we have all these programs related to suicide prevention, what is really recommended is to, if at all possible, particularly to ask about the possibility of thoughts of suicide. Now, you were just saying, what if you do know? But to ask directly. Now, the hard part is when say, gee, someone does have thoughts of suicide, and then what do you do? Maybe that's the next. So let me summarize. One of the programs talks about 3 steps. And there's a website, actually, suicideispreventable.org.
Link will be in the description.
Really?
Excellent. And then, so they have 3 steps. One is to know the signs that someone possibly might have thoughts of suicide, and then find the words to ask about the possibility of thoughts of suicide. Also to find the words to have a conversation, to be supportive, if again, they're engaging with you, and to reach out. And that is to guide them to additional help, or we ourselves to get additional help. So I don't know if so to ask someone to try to ask about the possibility of thoughts of suicide, and maybe to be supportive, hear what's going on in their lives, of what's difficult, what's painful. Because obviously something must be painful if they have thoughts of suicide. And if we're able to be supportive, that can help a lot. And then either to guide them to make sure that they're safe in the moment and that they can stay safe, or maybe they could call us at the Crisis Center at 211, or if they're somewhere else in the nation, they could call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, or you yourselves could call either of these numbers, and we will coach you, or even in the moment, all of you together in a conference call could call in to us, and we could all talk about this together.
Yeah, I was about to say, one of my friends who actually did have thoughts of suicide, they were just talking to me and her small little group of friends because she didn't want outside help from anything else, mainly because she was afraid to go to a mental hospital
Right.
or something of the sort.
Yes.
And, I was just wondering, what if they don't want the help?
That is challenging when they don't want help. My suggestion is that to speak with them and then maybe to call us. Because, let's say when we get calls, whether on our own local call or the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, we have seen that many, many people have thoughts of suicide. Obviously, that's why they're calling. And many of them can stay safe for the moment. Now, the hard part is just that, is trying to figure out, is someone safe? So you were saying you're concerned, and this friend or person you're there conversing with...
We solved the problem not too long ago.
Oh.
She's feeling 10 times better.
Oh, really? And would it be helpful to say what it was that was helpful?
I don't really know what was helping her. It was just, I just kept checking up on her every day to make sure she was safe and all the other good. Just being a good friend, I guess. I don't really know. I'm not an expert at this. I didn't go to college for it.
And even when people go to college, first of all, some of those folks are calling in on the lines themselves.
Yeah.
And then there are people who dedicate themselves even at post-college level to studying certainly psychology and even suicide. And in fact, if I may, something that stands out to me, I went to a conference about a month ago, and there was a man named Thomas Joiner, PhD, doctorate, and he's
That's
in
a very
Florida.
weird name.
So, you're kidding, right?
Of course.
Thomas Joiner, and then there's his
Yeah, I know. I was just
doctorate
Yeah.
degree.
I'm trying to add a little more laughing because of
That's
our last
right.
episode.
mainly because suicide is too serious, and we don't.
You gotta
wanna,
keep it light and fluffy
But
and PG.
He
Please.
presented, Dr. Joyner presented there a slide, and it really caught my eye, caught my interest, and obviously I'm about to tell you about it. He simply had ideas about what contributes to someone attempting suicide. And he said that people who, in general, feel that they are a burden, certainly that contributes. And then also, if people feel a lack of belongingness. Now, that's a long way to say. The other way to say it is that they feel like they don't belong. And then there's one other factor that was in his diagram, and that is that they need to have the capability of attempting suicide. So in other words, people at various times might feel that they are a burden, or people might feel that they don't belong. But if they don't have the capability, then at the moment, or they don't have that energy, or they don't even have the actual means. Let's say, like, if they were possibly thinking about attempting suicide by using a gun, but they don't have a gun, well, so then they don't have that capability. They might have either of those other factors of a lack of belonging or a feeling like they are a burden. But then, and still while they suffer with that burden, that they don't have the capability at that moment for attempting suicide. Now, they could obviously develop the capability of attempting to attempt suicide. But that really interested me, and I thought about that. This may be silly, but let's say some people are very dedicated to their cat, let's just say, or their dog. And the cat is getting old. They love their cat. The cat's getting old. The cat becomes very expensive. Right, let's say the cat gets cancer or something, and there's not a lot of
cat cancer.
and there's not a lot of insurance. Some people have it, so they're spending lots of money on their cat. So is the cat a burden? Yes, the cat is a financial burden,
But they love the cat too much.
but
to
they
let
love
it
the
go.
cat.
So
Right.
It's
So the
also-
cat would feel like I belong if we were able to interview the cat. So even if we are, I thought about this is my own thought, even if we are a burden, and any of us are a burden, I think, at any time.
Yeah.
But if we can have a sense of belongingness, then that helps. Now, sometimes I believe that for whatever reasons, in our own original family system, maybe there are challenges, and that maybe there isn't as much of a sense of belonging. But one can ideally find whatever our source might be, and that can be a challenge. But to find our tribe, find our group, I mean, just like right here at this school, or right here at this psychology club, or whatever groups are here, where people can begin to develop or continue to develop a sense of belongingness. I think that can, even as any of us may be a burden. Or it's both. But if we've got that, then that can counteract. Now also, we want to help folks to be able to keep them safe so that they don't have easy access and they don't have that capability, or we diminish that capability for attempting suicide. How's that for a long answer?
That's a very long answer.
That's a very. I feel like that takes up a lot of the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
Right.
kind of.
Jeez, that was like more
I
than 3
believe
minutes.
our next question, I think we'll only be able to ask the first one, because a lot of them will tie into the group discussion.
Yeah.
But, Cassie, will you ask your first question, and the rest of us will prepare
Our discussion
Yeah.
questions.
Okay, so my first question is, are there more youth suicides than adults?
In which he answered before the podcast even
That
started.
is true, but he should
Let's
stay
answer
on
this
to
so
the
our
podcast.
viewers can hear
All right.
it.
There we go.
So actually, I myself was surprised to see that I looked up from the statistics I went to. There's a website called suicidology.org, and that's through the American Association of Suicidology, and they get their statistics as well from the Centers for Disease Control. That actually the rate among youth, this for the most recent year, 2017 for stats, is the same rate as for the general population. That's interesting. Now it's up slightly from the rate, that is, from last year or the prior year, that is 2016. So the number is going, certainly the hard numbers are going up for everyone, including youth. And the youth have gone up slightly more than the rest of the population from 2016 to 2017. Then the question was, did I answer the question or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
All right, now we're going to move on to our group discussion due to time and battery length. So let's. We all have our group questions, and I'll start with the question. Why do you think, this is for everyone, why do you think suicides have increased in our youth?
I feel like mainly because of, well, this also ties into my little question, social media. Mainly because if you think about it, people can insult everyone from a screen, whether they think about it or like they say something or not. And, you know, those hurtful comments do tend to get to people.
I agree with Chris, because sometimes when a person has gotten some hate on social media, it's either full on bullying, or it's just
Constructive
it's
criticism.
constructive criticism that wasn't supposed to be was taken the wrong way. And usually it's also from people who have been feeling the same like feeling
The same way.
feeling down, like someone's like doing better than they are. It's like, oh, I want to just pull him back down to my level, see how he feels,
Yeah, so he can feel.
just so he can feel powerful. It doesn't work. I was bullied a lot in my youth, elementary school, middle school. It was a lot more. But then when I got to high school, it was more aggressive and personal. I mean, I got backstabbed a lot, and I feel like if bullying it did lead me to almost want to commit suicide at one point, but then I, of course, got help, and then it helped me pull out of it. But I feel when someone's bullying someone, it's because of their own personal feelings, or they feel more powerful,
or their insecurities.
exactly, and they're just feeling just as bad, like what we said with just pulling them down to their level. And sometimes it just makes them feel like they're not. Sometimes it's because they don't want to feel bad, and they want to try and they want to act like they're not bad in a way, just by doing bad things to others, but therefore causing more problems for them and themselves, and kind of creates this little circle.
I think there's definitely a large element of stress to suicide rates as well, because stress can cause, depression or mood swings, stuff like that, and that could make you think of trying to take an easier way out, if you will. But there's definitely a lot of stressful situations, and that can extend from social media or bullying or family problems or anything like that.
I also another reason it could be, like we said, with stress. Also, during high school and middle school, it's when most kids are hitting puberty, and that's when their hormones are playing a lot more and becoming harder to control. And that's when their mind can think of random thoughts and think heavily on one emotion, which also is tied to the mood swings, I believe, which is another, I think is another
Elements of suicide.
element in the youth suicide. But we have to quickly do a time, so let's get with Cassie's opinion.
Yeah, so family problems. It's a big one because I personally dealt with family problems, so I know exactly how some people would feel. Like, some people feel like they're left out in their family. They feel like they're the odd one out. They don't want to go to family events, so they stay alone, which probably isn't the best thing for them to do, because when you're alone, you can think about a lot of bad things. Some people have to deal with family being abusive to them, or family fight each other, and that person, part of that family, feels like they're the reason why their family keeps fighting. They feel like they're the reason why their family falls apart, which could lead to someone wanting to commit suicide. and it's a terrible thing to be bullied and have to go on social media looking for help only to be bullied even more on your social media apps and everything. You go to your family, but you know that you feel like you're the outcast, so you don't want to go to them, and it's like you kind of just feel so left out. It's like it's hard to see people say that they can't go to their family because their family is one of the big problems.
You know, they don't want to feel like they're the black sheep out of the herd.
Yeah.
And to be made fun of that way, and to be shamed by all those different people, it's hard to find certain bits of hope. But then when you find that one little bit of hope, it makes that moment all the more better, because it's the first sign of true compassion, and it'll help. Even the smallest string can pull a person out of darkness. Yeah. The smallest light can light the path to success. So I'm a very poetic person.
That was actually very nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so here are the last couple Okay. Here are the last couple questions. And what are your personal self-care and coping strategies?
Well,
Please keep it short.
we'll
We only have like 5 minutes left.
let's see. Well, it's very valuable to me personally to have some people in my life that I can talk to about anything at all whatsoever. And these are people outside of my own family unit. And even to some degree, I mean, certainly I can speak to family and speak to a circle of friends. But there are some things, or sometimes they don't react well or as supportively as I would like. And so I have additional folks that I can go to. And that is extremely important to me. So at that level, and then just a different level of self-care for me is I love watching comedy shows.
This should be a perfect one.
Especially comedic for suicide.
Oh.
And then I also am very spiritually oriented, so that is very meaningful to me.
Right. And talk about the role emotional support animals can play in helping people overcome suicidal thoughts. Do you yourself have an emotional support animal?
I do not, but my mother does. I don't know about the connection related to suicide, but I thought of her cat, actually, who is not that expensive. That's right, yes. But is an official designated therapy cat that she takes to folks who are in distress. And in fact, she just took the cat recently to an older woman who has dementia and was having a panic attack or something, an anxiety attack. And then my mother brought the cat, and the woman calmed down. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, you say you don't know why, like how it connects to suicide emotional support animals.
Right.
That's the exact reason why. It can calm people down. So if you have an emotional support dog, for example, you're sitting there having a panic attack and you're just sitting, you don't know what to do, you're having all these terrible thoughts, your dog can sense that. They can see it in your body language. They'll come over to you and comfort you when like other people won't. So that's why it's like some people have emotional support animals, and that's why it helps with suicide.
I've seen people who have an emotional support animal, and it was a snake. I swear, if I ever was given that option, I'd be more scared of the snake.
I love snakes.
Scaring me away from my problems? No, I'd rather be comforted. That's why I've got a nice little cute Yorkshire Terrier.
Snakes are cute. What do you
They're
mean?
not.
They're
Have you ever
cool.
seen Anaconda?
Yeah.
They're long.
I think.
All right. I think that's all the time we have for today. But we want to thank you, Scott, for coming down all this way only to see us ask you questions and act like ourselves, but PG level. If you want to know more about Scott, links will be in the description below. And if you want to check out more of our videos, we'll have links in the description and right here and right here. Till next week, this is the Psychology Club saying goodbye.